years to like be happy to be away from my home.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I don't have no, I'm just going to be in this hotel room. It's great.
Yeah.
But it used to be I'd get out there, not unlike this guy, Billy Ray Shaver, where, yeah, I mean, there's a romance to it, but like there is also this weird type of loneliness that happens when you're staying in that fucking, you know, hotel, the cheap hotel in the part of town where you can't fucking go anywhere. You're not near anything, or worse, you're like, it's connected to a mall. But there's a type of loneliness that is, you know, like above, and it's like beyond good and evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's a high lonesome, and yeah, you kind of turn into like Colonel Kurtz by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, but it's only a weekend. That's the weird thing. Is like as soon as you get to that hotel, you're like, oh, where do I go to be bad?
The horror.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fucking. Oh, it's not. It's so weird and dumb.
Yeah. And also, like, it's really hard. I'm sure everyone talks about it, where you get off stage after being the best thing to happen to that room.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to do with all that adrenaline?
The worst. Yeah, back like once I got sober, it was just like fucking ice cream and candy.
Yeah.
Just load up on shit and bring it to the room.
You should be immense. You should be a big fat pig.
Well, I didn't like it. I never felt good about it. But like there is, it's like you don't know what to do and you do want to do something. And that's how you get into trouble. You know, like, and that's how, like this guy with the cocaine, like when I read this, I just remember not being able to sleep. Like, cause you can't drink yourself down from cocaine. The cocaine's going to always outspeed everything else. So unless you've got downers, you're fucked. And like when I was reading this shit, I was like, oh, that morning thing, that's terrible. And he starts drinking again. Like, he really reminded me of that dude in Money, which is a good thing, where you're sort of like, can he live like this?
At least that guy in Money was, like, rich, you know?
Right, but, like, you know, you started to realize, like, oh, this is the device. This guy is all the bad appetites.
Definitely.
But this guy, Billy Ray Shaver, is, you know, a guy you know. Yeah. I know this guy.
Well, every comic reads the book and they're like, hey, is this about X? And I have someone I've never heard of.
Who have they listed? Who have people asked you about?
Well, I don't. Troy Baxley comes up a lot.
I don't know that guy.
Oh, my God. Baxley was like one of the kings.
Is he dead?
No.
Oh.
He's holding on somehow.
Yeah.
He's a medical miracle.
Wow.
And he was in Denver, but he worked the road all the time. And a lot of people would be like, this happened to Baxley. Did you know that story? And I'm like, no. And they're like, yeah, he fell off a bar stool and broke his nose open and then had to go on stage.
That was Tom Rhodes, too.
Well, see? You got one, too.
No, Tom Rhodes, that's what got him sober. He fell off a stool and broke his face and realized it was time to quit. No, the story I heard about the guy with the bloody nose on stage.
Yeah.
That's I've heard it, John Fox was who I heard about.
Ollie Joe Prater, too.
Prater, too?
Yeah, when the nose starts bleeding.
Right, yeah. Doesn't anyone party anymore? I heard that was John Fox. You heard it was Ollie Joe?
I think it happened to both of them. You've heard that story of Ollie Joe where he was underneath the blanket and it caught on fire?
I don't know that one.
He got too big and fat to get up the stairs, so he would just sit on stage underneath the sheet, and he would smoke cigarettes under there.
Yeah.
And one time he like lit the sheet on fire, and it was just revealed in a ball of flame that he was on stage the entire time.
When he like, oh yeah, with the canes.
Yeah.
Hobbling Ollie Joe Prater, dragging other people's jokes from town to town.
Yeah. Everyone in Denver has stories about Ollie Joe taking their jokes.
Really? Did he start there?
No, but I think he came through a lot. Because Denver's weird. Cause
that's a long time ago, dude.
Well, there's nowhere to go between Chicago and L.A. So it's Denver.
Right.
Or it's like Omaha or Salt Lake City. But
Denver's sort of a real city.
Yeah.
And John Fox was another guy. Oh, boy.
I've only heard stories about him. The mayonnaise jar thing.
Yeah, the mayonnaise jar, right. Don't ever eat mayonnaise on the road because John Fox blew his load into a jar of mayonnaise.
I was going to be vulgar about it.
Yeah, then... but there's I just remember like one time I just remember we were at a table, we're doing drugs. It was like a bunch of people, but I think it was a Kennison night, and for some reason John was there, and we're all talking about the road, and he's like, and you know how you start comparing stories, but there's always the one story you're like, what the fuck?
Like, my God.
Yeah, right. And John Fox, like, it was like after a few stories, like, yeah, man, when you're on the road and you got a hairbrush stuck up your ass and you're jerking off and you're like, God, I hope I don't die like this. And there's just that moment where everyone's like, what?
They tap out. All right.
Yeah, you win.
You win, John.
Yeah. But then next time you're on the road, you're like, how do you put a hairbrush up your ass?
What kind of brush was it?
Yeah. How does that fit up there? Is that a good thing?
This one's a rubber handle.
How much coke do you got to be on to enjoy a hairbrush up your ass? But yeah,
man.
those guys. But who are the other cats? I mean, I know that Norm plays a part in the book as Norm, and I remember Rick. I don't know if I knew any of the other Denver guys that are actual real guys. Who were they?
Like Kevin O'Brien and Nathan Lund are friends of mine.
Yeah, I don't know those guys.
They're my generation.
Oh, they were in the dressing room with Norm?
Yeah, they're on the shows.
There sort of like oral history, like where you actually have comics telling stories?
Yeah, I had like Phil Palisol and Nora Lynch.
Yeah, no, I met that guy.
You probably met Phil.
Yeah.
Hippie Man's in there, John Novosad, who is the best comic to come out of Denver.
Really?
Yeah, and people, like, I remember one time I was mean to Bobcat Goldthwait because he was like, Hippie Man opened for him the night before when Bobcat came back, and I was having lunch with him and Caitlin Gill, and he was like, yeah, and this like old road hack opened for me, this guy Hippie Man, and it's like, first of all, he's the king, and second of all, your name's Bobcat Goldthwait. You're going to be mad at a guy for having a nickname? And Caitlin had to she grabbed my leg under the table and was like, chill.
Well, Bobby he gets a little snotty.
He's been great ever since. But I remember getting my cockles up because you don't talk shit about Hippie Man.
Well, I think that it's a weird thing that it's definitely, there's something about those old timers that, it's not about their material after a certain point. Yeah. It's about their perseverance and their sort of humility from, just decades of humiliation. Yeah. That, you got to respect the legend is what it is.
Well, also, but Novosad, he writes new stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Look, I think it's very difficult. Like when people who do comedy, when I meet young people, I'm like, well, there's only a handful of guys who are going to make a real living doing the stand-up. So if you've got a knack for writing shit, figure out a way that, you can continue to work.
Or just get really good at TikTok. Doesn't matter.
I don't even know what that is. But like there's some dudes that I started with that, well, I mean, I know what it is, but I don't know. I'm not on it. Yeah. But there's some dudes I started with that are big showrunners. Like they're big writers to get into, they got on the other side of it. Yeah. You got to be a real irresponsible, self-involved fuck to decide, like, I'm just going to do the stand-up.
Yeah. This is what's real. This is pure.
That's me.
Me too, man. I'm so glad I had this book or else I'd be broke right now. Because I made all my money off stand-up.
Yeah, I couldn't, I'm fucking proud of you for writing the goddamn book, like Thanks, a real novel.
Thank you.
Jesus Christ. I couldn't write for other people. Yeah. I couldn't see, like now, I didn't even like to collaborate. That'll happen later.
I'm bad at that.
Yeah.
I'm bad at collaboration.
But now, I'm doing the acting thing here and there, and it's like, I don't know.
You pivoted.
It worked out, or I pivoted because some weird cosmic timing finally worked out. Yeah. The desperation of talking to my peers.
That's right.
So this book you wrote in, how long?
Like probably a year. I wrote 150 words of a different thing, and then the first chapter of this book was part of that. And then I was like, this shit's bad. I'm going to follow this guy around. And then just cranked him out.
Well, I like that, and I don't think it's just because I'm a comic that, it's not so much you're rooting for him, but you're like, wow, how far is this going to go? Where does this go? And that the details about who he was, in terms of these kind of guys, the ex-wife, the sort of selfishness, the kids that they don't know, like all of that stuff seemed, it all rang very sort of true, and the psychology of the character seemed to hold up. I know it wasn't going to end well.
No, yeah. I don't think anyone got their fingers crossed. I also don't like books that end happy.
No, I like this. It remind me of like Bruce Wagner. You ever read any of Bruce Wagner's book? Oh, my God. The ending of his first book, Force Majeure. Jesus Christ. You would like that shit, man.
I would. I love bleak novels.
Bruce Wagner's, there's a few. There's a Hollywood trilogy, but Force Majeure, the first one, yeah. He got a little complicated. He's a real smarty pants. But there's
I like when a guy talks about a book and they go, yeah. Like it's like reading Larry Brown. It's like, this guy just risked his life for $400. I love that shit.
And you gave me this book, the Cormac McCarthy Blood Meridian. I got to read it.
It's the best book in the English language, I think.
Wow.
At least in the American canon.
Okay.
I think it's tops. And I read Moby Dick, and this is better.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So so he's one of your guys.
Cormac McCarthy and Dennis Johnson and Simon Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
I read that book and Angels and this book, The Dig by Simon Jones, over and over again while I was writing my book. Just to know what a good novel sounded like.
But you didn't find yourself glomming
Oh, dude, for sure. Yeah.
I didn't quite notice. I don't know those writers, so I wouldn't know.
Well, there's a part in there where I start using colons instead of periods.
Yeah.
Because I was reading Graham Greene. I was reading Brighton Rock, and I was like, damn, he uses colons really cool.
I just like the consistency of the character and where you took him. Like, it really kind of like goes somewhere. And, you know, there's like just the scenes like... That fucking vibe of, not that anybody needs to know this or that, you know, it's just me or that I'm only going to relate to this, but that feeling of sitting around when everything is done, just thinking like, that shit's going to turn around. If I could just get some blow, or if you're on blow and it's 2:30 and you're like, this is just about to happen.
Yeah.
And there are no options.
No.
But real sad ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do?
And all that shit, what was that weirdo, the guy who rolled him? Is that based on a real guy?
So that's based on a guy in Denver, and he gets rolled right behind Mouth House in Denver in 5 Points.
Your place.
Yeah, that old house I lived in. And that guy is, he was just a creep. He used to hang out at Mouth House and like smoke speed. He would steal all of our light bulbs and smoke speed out of them.
Huh.
Yeah.
Like with the hat. What was he wearing? In the book, I can't remember.
He's wearing like a trench coat.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was a character. Mm-hmm. A creepy character.
Yeah, no good.
Yeah.
This guy would wear fingerless gloves and a leather cowboy hat.
Right, that's what, yeah. That's the detail. Mm-hmm. And poor Billy Ray was too fucked up.
Just looking for a party, man.
That's the fucking problem with that.
He's a good time Charlie.
So tell me about because I guess self-publishing is a mixed bag.
Oh yeah, it's very shameful.
No, it's not shameful.
I think it is. I was deeply ashamed to have to self-publish this book. Huh. It's my biggest failure, I think. I mean, Mishka got me an agent who was very like powerful in memoirs, and he loved the book. And
who's that?
This guy Bird Leoval. And he loved the book, and he sent it off to people, and they were like, "Who's going to read this book?" And I was like, "Well, fans of stand-up will probably read this book, and you know, most podcasts are hosted by stand-ups, so
right?
I could probably get on some podcasts and promote it."
Yeah.
And they were like, we're not going to take a chance on your first novel."
Take a chance. I mean, they don't give you any money for your first novel anyways.
No.
Taking a chance.
And thank God I didn't publish naturally. Because achieved wealth.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about publishing is that, like, then it comes out, and then you got to rely on a goddamn,
Publishers Weekly.
Well, no. There's that in the
Kirkland or
whatever it is.
Kirkus.
Kirkus reviews.
Yeah.
But the in-house publicist who doesn't want to be doing that job.
No.
And a lame-ass book tour that, is not going to really sell books.
No.
So wait, so you self-publish. How do you do that? Like, because it says, the too big to fail press. So that's just something you created?
That's my publishing company, which is just what I get my checks through now.
Oh, so okay, so you set up an LLC?
S Corp.
Oh, an S Corp.
To my father.
Okay.
He's stoked. He's cooking the books.
Oh, good. Yeah. So to self-publish, walk me through the steps of that. So you got the full book. It's edited. You're ready to go.
Yeah. And then I just did it through Amazon. Amazon KDP, you can upload a book to that and pick out your cover.
Really? You pick out a cover?
Yeah, okay. Well, I had the cover designed by friends
and they just run it off per order?
Yeah, it's like,
how much do they charge?
They charge like $5 a book.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then I order them in lots, and then people buy them off my website at samtallent.com.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm able to ship and package everything myself.
But they can also get them on Amazon.
They shouldn't. If you're a listener and you want this book, go ahead and get it at samtallent.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Because Amazon doesn't give you a lot of money.
I see.
Yeah.
So there's a ceiling to that?
So Amazon gives me I think $6 a book.
Uh-huh.
And then if you buy off my website, I make, I think, $17.
Oh, great.
After shipping and everything.
Right. Yeah. What other merch you got?
I got shirts on there. I got sweatshirts. I got beanies. You can also go to cofungus.com and get some mushrooms from us.
Oh, yeah. So you're moving the fresh mushrooms to the gourmet outlets?
Fresh mushrooms and, you can get lion's mane as what's that called when you take it to feel better?
Oh, I don't know. What do you mean?
Like GNC, not stimulants, supplements.
Supplements.
Yeah, they're a supplement.
You have lion's mane supplements?
Yeah. And then also we'll send you a fruiting block of mushrooms, and you can just put it in your kitchen and cut it open, and you got mushrooms.
All right. So where's the stand-up right now?
I'm an author now, dude. I'm done with that racket.
You lived the life through Billy Ray Schaefer.
Dude, it's
You've
so
retired.
Funny.
You've hung up the hat.
Yeah, dude. I've listened to your show since you were doing like Pepitone at the end of every episode.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, yeah, dude, I got to get on Marin. Like, this is a big goal. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this feels good.
Yeah.
But to be on here as an author first,